Beneficiary designation forms. I talk about them all the time because they are too important not to fully understand how they work. So first I'm going to talk a little bit about it, and then I'm going to share my screen so we can look at some forms to give us an idea about what do they say, what should you put down, what box should you check or leave unchecked based on your wishes. So first, let's talk about it. You may have a retirement account, maybe some investments, a life insurance, bank accounts, and so on. So in order for those accounts to pass to someone else upon your death, you have to fill out a form. So take a minute now, make a list of these accounts that you have, and then call or walk in and make sure you have beneficiaries listed. And you may want to ask either to look at the form or maybe ask the person you're dealing with, the banker, the financial advisor, the life insurance agent, have them help you understand what would happen if one of your beneficiaries predeceases you. So let's say you have 3 kids and you have them all 3 listed as beneficiaries. Some forms allow you to have percentages, 20, 20, 60, or some forms they are automatically dividing those proceeds in equal shares between your beneficiaries. And make sure you have primary beneficiaries, but you also have contingent beneficiaries or secondary or alternate beneficiaries, because especially if you have one primary beneficiary, you may have your spouse or a child or a friend. What happens if that primary beneficiary predeceases you? They die 2 weeks before you, or they die at the same time with you in a car accident. And if you don't have alternate beneficiaries, then you don't have a beneficiary at all, and that account may have to be probated. Look at our other educational videos for that. But for now, let's look at a few beneficiary forms to understand what are some things that you have to write down. So I went on Google and looked for some beneficiary designation forms, and I looked at Oklahoma, of course, because we are in Oklahoma. So this is instructions for completing beneficiary designation form, and then it has primary beneficiary here, contingent beneficiary. This is one of those forms that says first the beneficiaries share equally unless you note otherwise, and then in the event that multiple beneficiaries are named and the primary beneficiary dies, the remaining beneficiaries will be entitled to an equal share. In my mind, this says, and you should double check with your providers, with whomever is managing this account, that if you have 3 beneficiaries and 1 dies, the other 2 get equal shares. So let's look a little bit at the form. You can designate a trust. You can have what happens if you have a minor. This is an Oklahoma employee group insurance division, so this is probably a life insurance form. This is where you have beneficiaries. This allows you to put percentages, primary names, and then of course make sure you have contingent beneficiaries. This is another beneficiary. This is Oklahoma Teacher Retirement System. The same thing I just Googled, but you can call and they'll probably send you a link, or they may mail you or email you the forms. Primary beneficiary, again, it says the sole beneficiary is living at the time of death. If more than one beneficiary, the same thing. If they die, the surviving primary beneficiaries share everything. So this is again another one that it says if one dies, the remaining beneficiaries take everything in equal shares. Again, contingent beneficiaries, you have that option. You should absolutely use it and include alternate beneficiaries if something were to happen to your first beneficiary. This is a fidelity investment form for your IRAs, the same thing, beneficiaries. This is a little bit different. So this has primary beneficiaries here, a spouse, non-spouse, you list the kids, but then it has this per stirpes option here, which is defined on this other thing, on this other column, and it says if you outlive a beneficiary and you want that beneficiary share to go to his or her descendants, check per stirpes. So this is where you actually would check per stirpes. If, let's say, you have 3 kids, you list them as beneficiaries, and you want that if one of them dies to go to their kids, then you have to check. If you leave it unchecked, the default is likely like the other ones, where only the surviving beneficiaries share that funds. It does not go down to their kids. So this is very, very important because it can be devastating for a family. I hope this video helped. please share it with your loved ones, with your friends and family. But more importantly, please check with the companies managing these assets for you. Check with your financial advisor, check with your life insurance agent, check with your company who's managing your retirement accounts and so on. And make sure you fully understand the difference between per service or non-per service, or what happens if a beneficiary does not survive, because there are options out there. For example, if the default is that you have 3 beneficiaries and one of them dies and it goes to the other 2, you could have a trust listed as a beneficiary instead of the 3 of them, because the trust will say, but if one dies, the other 2 get their share, but the deceased one gets down to their kids. So there are options out there. If you don't like what you hear for the people you're talking to, give us a call. Let's talk about it. 405-857-8231. Thank you for watching.